Have you guys ever considered the Ruger 1022 a possible platform for competing in NRL 22 or PRS 22? We all know that the bolt-action rifles, the Voodoos, and the Remexes are dominating the competition right now. Those produce some pretty good results, and I built quite a few of those. The Ruger 1022 platform has always been the underdog. It's always been kind of frowned upon about its reliability as well as its accuracy being subpar against a bolt-action rifle. Today's video, I think I'm going to change your guys' mind. This is a prototype that I made working with Gray Birch Manufacturing. If you guys aren't familiar with Gray Birch Manufacturing, they produce some really awesome chassis for the CZ457, the Tikka T1X, as well as the 1022 platform. They have since came out with what they consider the LDR, long distance rifle, 1022 platform. Today's video, I'm going to show you guys what it's all about. Stay tuned. So let's go over the specific of this rifle. Again, this is a prototype working with Gray Birch Manufacturing to produce a competition-ready 1022. The original barrels were around 18 inches. They do offer these things in carbon fiber, they're threaded, and they also have a stainless steel version. Now, taking these things out and doing my own testing with the original barrel has produced some pretty good results downrange, about MOA accuracy. I wanted to push the limits, and one of the things that I've stressed about in Gray Birch was the factor of balance on a rifle. Balance of a rifle really does play a fact when on barricades, being able to hold accuracy, being able to hold your groups, and basically hold your shots on target. So this thing is specifically rebarreled with a preferred barrel blanks. It's traditional 6 groove, 1/16 twist. It's about a 985 thousandths diameter contour straight. And you can see that on this chassis, even though I have these, the trigger cam accessories and the Zeiss scope here, it balances out pretty nice. This is without zero weights. We're going to disregard this little thing here in the front. This is something I 3D printed, very light. This is for my bench rest, joystick rest that we're going to shoot off of today. But the barrel itself, like I said, is what really gives the balance and also gives the performance that you're going to see today. Now, the Gray Birch 1022 is a very unique action. It's not traditional, as you can see. There is a barrel nut system that's utilized, and this action itself is actually threaded 32 TPI. So the standard 1022s use a kind of a recoil lug or pinch lug system, which some guys had good luck with it, but in my opinion, it's kind of an inferior system because it doesn't give the rigidity in the action. Barrel droop is a huge factor for loss of accuracy in a 1022, and having a threaded receiver obviously will mitigate that. And having a barrel nut system for this receiver allows me to pretty much time the curvature of the bore, give a little bit more precision aspects of this thing, and make this thing super reliable. So the chamber I have in this thing is actually not a standard 22 Bentz, which you really see on semi-automatics. This is a custom chamber that I've designed and have modified to allow in a semi-automatic platform. The same chamber I do actually put in a lot of my bolt-action rifles as well, and it is based off the Nevis chamber. Now, this one is set up for Lapua and SK, but we're also going to shoot some Ely semi-auto bench rest to see how it does downrange at 50 yards. What makes this thing very unique is that it has a pinch system, which basically is a set screw in the back of the chassis. I believe it's a 3/32 Allen head. What it will do is it will pretty much pinch the trigger guard assembly, giving another pinch point, an anchor point, instead of the traditional one single Allen screw in the front holding down the receiver. This makes a very solid platform for the actual chassis itself. It does have a 10-inch full arc rail system on here with 2 flush cups for QD detachments. It also does have a folder. Now, the folder itself is pretty unique in the fact that you just push down on it and it swings. It's detented and allows you to put this your system away. Very nice for backpacking or if you're a squirrel hunter or whatnot. It's very minimalistic in my opinion. Going over the vertical grip itself, the vertical grip is, I believe, 3D centered printed. It does have some relief cuts for ambidextrous, putting your thumb on. Now, I do have large hands, and for me, the pistol grip on this thing is a little bit too small for me, but it does feel very good in the hand still. There's a pretty good palm swell to this thing, and it does allow, like I said, to be able to put your thumb. However, if you have big hands like I do, it is hard to manipulate or have a thumb shelf for this. And there is a recess cut in the back of the receiver, which I personally like to put my thumb on. and being able to manipulate the trigger that way. So the overall weight of this rifle is actually 12 pounds. It's very light even with this 21 3/4 inch barrel. With the scope I have on here, which is the Zeiss LRP S3, it is a 6-36 power and has a ZF MRI reticle, MRAD. This thing, like I said, only weighs around 12 pounds. Personally, I like to be in the 14-pound range when on barricades and whatnot, but having the M-LOK accessories on the handguard will allow you to put those weights if needed. It also will give you the ability to put thumb shelves or perhaps baker wings if you're one of those guys that like to squeeze the bag and have something there to grab onto. Now, reaching out to Grey Birch, like I said, I'm going to be working with them, designing what I consider a competition-ready 1022, specifically for NRL or PRS 22. So to not bore you guys, let's see what this thing would do at 50 yards. Let's get some groups downrange. We do have the trigger cam, and I will be shooting indoors to eliminate some of the variables. So for this test, specifically at 50 yards indoor, we are shooting Lapua long range. I also have some Center X, SK rifle, and Ely semi-auto bench rest. Now, I did shoot this thing earlier, got it zeroed out, did some groups, and the first 15-20 shots out of this rifle have really impressed me as far as the groups. So let's get this all loaded up. Up first, we're going to shoot the Lapua long range, 10 rounds. One of the things I do want to notate is, if you guys are unaware, the spring pressure on these mags, specifically the last mag or last round out of the 10-round mag, will tend to throw a flyer. And that's to do with basically the bolt riding differently because there is no round pushing up for spring pressure. So typically on the last round on a 10-round mag, there will be a vertical or a flyer of some sort. Now, we'll also get some close-ups on how it feeds to make sure everything is fine and to see if we have any malfunctions. On the flyer there. All right, let's come down on the scope. And last round might throw flyer. Yep. So 10 rounds out of this thing. The first 5, not so good, but the last 4 did pretty well. Back in the center. That was definitely ammo related. So let's quickly go over the groups that we got here. The first 5 shots out of that rifle produced a .492, and then the next 5 was a .43. Now, this is just roughly estimated using a caliper going from center for center on the bullet holes there. The Lapua long range did pretty good. I got a group size of a .337 inch group. The next 5 shots was a .181, one of the best groups in this whole page here. And I believe this was Center X. I'm not really sure, I forgot now. But this was a .298, and including the flyer, which is up here, .487 inch group, excluding that one shot up here, .329. We went to SK rifle. This was fouling up the bore. SK rifle didn't produce, the first 5 shots didn't produce a really good group, .719. The next 5 shots produced a phenomenal group, .208. and then we got a .379 inch group, and then a .408 including the flyer here. If excluding the flyer, that was a .194. Ely semi-auto bench rest, fouling the bore, .738. The next 5 shots, .464, then a .449, and the last 5, .650. Ely semi-auto bench rest, it's subpar. This really isn't the best match grade ammo, as you could tell, but it works very, very well. And I've actually won my first NRL 22X match with this ammo. So surprisingly, out of the semi-auto, it's not really the best performer. Went ahead and shot the Center X again, and with the flyer down here is a .510. Without the flyer, this would have been the smallest group of a .176 inch group. You can see just 4 stacked up there, 1 up there. Or 3 stacked up in the same hole and 1 up to the top. Pretty damn good group. It then produced a .34 inch 340. This is a 392 with the flyer down low, .223 without that flyer, and then the last 5 is a .200. So the semi-auto 1022, the Gray Birch LDR with the new barrel, definitely is a performer. You can definitely see that this thing could definitely keep up with some of the bolt guns out there and can perform very well for NRL 22. But so far, out of all these shots, I did not have one single malfunction whatsoever. The only thing that I did notice is after the chamber gets super dirty, the extractor spring, I don't think is strong enough to eject a live round once in a while. It still will eject a live round if you rack it back and forth a few times, but regardless, I want to get that 100% dialed in. So I did reach out to Gray Birch, or basically we're again collaborating and partnered up with producing this prototype of a rifle, and we are going to increase some of the spring pressure to see if we can mitigate that situation. But as you can tell, with the match grade chamber in the LDR rifle, this thing is a hammer. Well, folks, in summary, this LDR rifle I think is a really good option for NRL 22. There's going to be some of those stages where a semi-auto will benefit, specifically on the timed stages. Obviously, you can't miss fast enough, so always remember fundamentals and a precision shot is well worth it. However, the 1022 platform continues to shine, in my opinion, giving the right barrel. I've always said that having a good quality barrel will obviously show its performance downrange. One of the things I did not mention is, if you guys have noticed, there's no threads on this barrel. If accuracy is utmost importance, specifically for a 22 long rifle, I do not recommend threading a barrel or having any kind of muzzle device in front of that barrel. Keeping the bore diameter as concentric as possible, uniform, is one of the key factors for 22 accuracy, in my opinion, not to mention a very good quality barrel. So having threads on the barrel actually poses a risk of opening up the bore at the muzzle, which is the most crucial point for the 22 rimfire accuracy. I do want to say a huge thank you to Gray Birch Manufacturing and the team over there that has lent me this rifle and the opportunity to basically build a 1022 competition platform. I'm really excited to see where this goes. Being able to put together what I would consider a complete custom 1022 designed for NRL 22 is going to be awesome. So again, this is just the LDR rifle. There is a lot of changes that will be happening with this rifle, including in the fore-end area, to accommodate what I feel, from my opinion, based off my competition experience, what I would consider a good competition 1022 rifle. Well, folks, I want to say thanks for watching. Comment below, let me know what you think. Is this possibly one of the best 1022 shooting rifles you've ever seen? We're talking about consistency and accuracy, not just cherry picking a group. Overall accuracy of this rifle seems to be shooting in the .3s, and that's pretty much what I see in the majority of my bolt action rifle builds. So this thing is definitely up there as far as performance. As far as reliability, so far the shots downrange didn't have any issues, but in a competition setting, we don't know. I'm going to have to test this in a competition, and I'll give you guys the feedback shortly. Thanks for watching. I'll catch you guys in the next video.